Hey guys, Stephanie here. Welcome to my office, aka the garage, where I have a table and chair set up. The towers are behind me. I do a lot of my seed starting here. I do a lot of my course recording here, and it's just easy to have my seedling station over there and all my seeds kind of on this side so I can get some work done. If you are growing a lot of food, if you get into homesteading with towers, one of the tips I would recommend is to have you a little space like this. This isn't much. You guys, I have 9 towers. You guys see how much food I grow. The seeds are out right now because I've been doing a project, but I have a shelf for them to go on. And this is all I need. A little cheap table and chair, my seeds, my rockwool stash, and then my little seed starting section. And that just makes growing consistently, which you guys hear me talk a lot about, easier. Because I say be starting seeds all the time. And this week out in my gardens, and I'm going to be doing a tour later on this week, posting a video for you guys. We're kind of in a weird season where a lot of things are coming to the end of their life, but I've also been putting in new things. So as soon as a plant is at the end of its life, I'm pulling it out and putting in a new start, which kind of lends to towers that are dirtier because we're at the end of the season, but I can't clean them quite yet because not everything is ready to turn over, but I don't want to turn everything over at once because then I'm basically starting from scratch with a lot of those towers. So I will be making a video on how you kind of manage that transition. It's not that hard. I take apart my towers and clean them with plants in them and just keep going and just keep moving forward. But starting seeds all the time helps me so much to ensure that I am eating the food. It's hunting season. That I am eating food off my towers every single day. So right now I have cauliflower that needs to go on my towers, and what it's doing is forcing me to really evaluate things that I can harvest and turn into meals for our family this week so I can free up that space. So we're doing a lot of things with celery. I've been making some falafel with a lot of things. So just, you know, I just like to really promote the idea of constantly be starting seeds and eating your food. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about something I'm really excited about, and I was going to wait to post this video after I had success in this area, just to show you, you know, I went from this to that and it works. But I've decided not to do that because if you're like me, then you may just want to jump in and take charge of this particular project on your own if it's exciting to you and not wait until I get it perfect. I say that everything is figure outable on the towers. And what I mean by that is if you truly desire to grow your own food, if eating your own better than organic, fresh off the tower food is important to you, then you will not fail. You may have failures along the way. You may have to reseed things. I reseeded some stuff this morning where some sprouts didn't germinate. You may lose some plants to disease. You may lose some plants because they just were a flop. But if it's important to grow your own food, there is no way to fail on these towers as long as you keep moving forward and keep doing the things to grow the food. And so that's why I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I'm doing, and I'm going to post this video, and then as I have success in this area, I will continue to update you. If you want to wait and see how I do, if you want to jump right in, I'll give you the details on how to do that as well and where I got all my supplies and everything. So what we have here is I have like a plastic tray. It's a lid to another one of my grow trays, and I have some soaked rock wool. This is soaked in mineral water. Typically we soak our rock wool for 20 minutes before starting our seeds, and we soak them in just plain water, but this is soaked in mineral water. I actually just stuck it in one of my tanks for a little bit and then pulled it out. And what we're going to be planting are aloe. So aloe, and I have to be careful what I say on this channel because there's a lot of things you're not allowed to say anymore as far as what plants can do for our bodies. But there is a ton of science behind aloe. I own a book. I'll link it below. I will link some other podcasts and things for you below if you want to learn a little bit more about the health benefits of aloe. But it is related to all sorts of things, especially related to dealing with the C word and helping the body to combat the C word or prevent the C word, and repairing DNA and all sorts of things. So the way I use aloe is to juice it. And you guys know I love to juice, and a lot of what happens on my towers in the winter and in the fall is juicing. I do a ton of juicing in the winter and fall. I do a ton of juicing all the time anyway. I prefer to like at least one juice a day, sometimes two. I sometimes prefer just to drink juice over eating most foods. They're so nutritious and so good for you, and I just love them. So I will be juicing this aloe. Now, I'll make more videos and show you how to juice it once I have it growing and big enough to juice, but you don't juice the skins. They actually can cause some really bad gastric issues. You're cutting it open and you're pulling out the insides, and that's what you're using. Now, it's technically not juicing, but I mix them in with my juices. Sometimes I'll put it through my juicer just so it blends into everything, and you can put it in a blender for your smoothies. So that's what I mean by juicing these. Technically it's a gel and we're consuming the gel, but you can do it a couple of different ways. But you're not going to use the skin, because the skin will cause you a lot of gastric issues that can be pretty intense. So these I ordered off of eBay, and I will try and put her link below as well. Very affordable. When they're little like this, they're called pups. So a aloe plant is going to grow in certain regions as a perennial, and it will create these little side shoots, almost like strawberries create different kinds of pups, but similar to a strawberry. I think that's why it's called a pup, like a strawberry plant is called a pup. Oh, that was a root. But it sends off these little shoots. These shoots then grow roots. So it sends off this stem, and then the stem grows these roots that grab a hold of the soil, and a new plant begins. So I ordered these pups. They were very affordable. I think I paid $12 for 12 of them. We'll see how many we have here. And if you're gonna do this, this is what you wanna start with. Can you grow these from seeds? I have no idea. I've honestly never tried to grow a aloe plant from seeds. So that's 4, 5. What I'm doing is I have them sitting just for the last 10 minutes in some nutrient water. So this is water from my towers that have minerals in them. Before that, I had them sitting in just the tiniest bit of water to keep them moist once they came from the mail. And I'm using this mineral water to wash off. I washed them over the sink with cool water, and I'm using this to just wash off any remnants. I like to do the mineral water because I feel like it's got salts and minerals in it, and salts and minerals deal with bad bacteria and things, right? That's why we gargle with salt water, and it helps to, I think it does anyway. I've always assumed mineral water kind of helps. Minerals and salt water and salts help promote good bacteria and discourage bad. Don't hold me to that. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I'm going with here. So I'm just pulling off any dirt. This one's really large. And you do want them smaller. Like this large one's going to be harder to deal with than some of the others. So I'm gonna let that one soak just a little bit longer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it was 10. So 10 pieces, and I think I paid $12. Amazing price. If I buy aloe right now in the gel form that goes into my freezer that has to be broken into small containers to use, because you can't use it fast enough if you let it thaw to keep it fresh, and it's $100. That's for 2 bottles. It's really expensive. So I'm super excited about this, and I don't have to fuss with all those steps. I really get thrown off when I have to freeze something to keep it fresh and then pull it out and I can't use the whole thing. But because it comes in these half gallons, if you put it in the fridge, then it starts to deteriorate, and sometimes I forget to put it in individual containers because who's got time for that? So instead, we're growing our own aloe moving forward. I am not worried if this will fail, because if it fails, I'll figure out why and we'll do it again. There's no reason why you can't grow hydroponic aloe. Actually, I think it's prime. It's a prime plant for growing with hydroponics. Some things are prone not to do great in hydroponics, and some things are prone to do really well based on the nature of the plant, and I think this one is primed to do really well. So all I'm going to do is take rock wool, and I pulled out 12. So we're gonna start some Four Seasons Marvel lettuce as well, just so that these rock wools don't go to waste. All right, we have a seed in both of those. All right, so those are dealt with. I'll put a little vermiculite on those and stick them in my grow section when we're done. These are not gonna go under the grow lights or go anywhere. They're going to sit in this tray until tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'm going to start to harden them off. I don't know where these plants came from. I don't know if she grew them on her porch in the shade. I need them to be hardened off to handle the sun. So I'm not gonna put this in the rock wool and then walk it straight over to the tower. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna keep these super, super moist, way more than I would recommend any of my other seedlings, for a couple of reasons. One, the roots are a lot more mature and they're gonna be hanging out of this rock wool, and we don't want the roots just sitting in air. We want them to be in water until we get them in the tower where it's properly set up for the roots to be exposed to air. And that's it. We just don't want them drying out. So I will probably give these like 2 or 3 days and see if I can't get maybe 2 or 3 extra roots from here to grow and to catch hold and to kind of stabilize these inside the rock wool, and then they'll go into the towers. It's just a super hot day today. If I put them out there right now, there's a good chance they could get sunburned. They're already gonna be a little bit traumatized from going from growing in soil to growing in a hydroponic system. So we're gonna launch them in a gentler way, let them adapt to that first, and then we'll adapt them to our climate. Now tomorrow I will put them outside for a little while to start hardening them off. Hardening a plant off is when you take it outside, if it hasn't been exposed to any true sunlight, and you let it have, you know, an hour in gentle sunlight in the morning or a couple hours, and then maybe a couple hours in the evening as the sun's setting, and you start to acclimate it to real sun, and you can increase that time over a few days until the plant is acclimated and can handle the sun. So we're gonna rip this open, and I'm going to stick just the root base. And so with the aloe, you're gonna have this stem part. It's pretty raw, and that would be typically laying on the ground, and then these leaves shoot up. So this plant is gonna be kind of floppy and unstable for a little bit, and we've got roots hanging out the bottom. So we're gonna need to figure out how to set these up in a way that they aren't just flopping over. I was hoping this container would do it, and it might. Let's see if we face them this way. There we go. Once they start to take root, this will straighten out normally because the plant's gonna grow towards the sun and it's going to go vertical anyway. So if you were to put this in your tower right now, if your tower is inside, you could go ahead and put it in. It may look floppy. I've done this with celery and stuff too. And eventually it will prop itself up. You could also use some plant labels, like a little wooden stake that you would write the name of a plant on, or a little plastic stake, stick that in there and that could hold it up as well. And I may do that in a minute depending on how bad these look once I get them started. All right, and this rock wool just fell apart. So let's try, and you guys get to learn on the spot with me, because like I said, never done it, but this is what we're doing. All right, I'm gonna use this tray. Much better. I want to make sure I have water on the bottom of these. That's why I was thinking this tray, but this will fit inside there and I can still water it from the bottom. There's a spider web on there. Okay, I got rid of him. Okay, so now all we're gonna do is take our rock wool. I am gonna give these some space since I have space. If you don't have space, don't worry about it. But because I have a little room, I'm going to put each one in. Just give it a little room to decide where it wants to flop over to. This one has a skinnier base than the other ones. So I am going, and I've destroyed this rock wool. I'm going to use a new rock wool. Okay. Try not to let it rip all the way through. That is better. I was going to try and push this one down a little bit, but I don't want to risk it rotting, so we're just going to let it be. Let's see how this one does. I might do that one that's in pieces for that really large plant because I won't be able to fit it in a hat with it just cut halfway open. There we go. That one's really nice. Okay guys, my camera cut off somewhere along the way while I was planting these, but this is working out really well. They are all in these individual pods in the rock wool. Excuse my dog, the chickens are upset. There's people hunting and there's things just like attacking turkey in the backyard. The wildlife around here right now is unhinged. The chickens are upset like 7 times a day because there's something in the woods prowling around their cage. But anyway, what I did with this larger one with that rock wool that was all broken up is I went ahead and put it in a net pot. And I don't know if I mentioned before this got cut off that, you know, we want to make sure these are exposed to sun at the right time. If I just put them outside right now, they could get damaged because I don't know the conditions they were in before she sent them to me. Were they grown in the shade on a porch? And so I'm going to keep them in here, keep them super moist. I'm gonna look for when they start to grow some new roots into that rock wool, and I will start taking these outside and putting them in the sun for a couple hours each day to allow them to start to acclimate. If they're going, I didn't put all of these. This worked really well. This one's very heavy and it had that broken rock wool, and putting it right into the net cup worked really well. So you could put all of them right into a net cup and start them that way. I chose not to do that because I'm not sure if I want some of these to grow in my baby greens extension kit. So I want to see if I can get some roots established just in the rock wool and have the option to put them in my baby greens extension kit. Because knowing me, I could see this being a baby greens extension kit type of plant for me. But this one I went ahead and put in the net pot, and I do have one tower behind me that has a grow port open that's north facing, so on the shadier side of the tower. So I'm gonna go ahead and plop this one in there and just see how it goes, and I will keep you guys updated. I'm gonna put all the links below. If you wanna grow a superfood to up-level your health, and you don't need a juicer, you don't need a Vitamix or anything for this, highly recommend. Jeez, everybody's upset. Highly recommend growing aloe. I'll put all sorts of links below if you want to read up on that. If you already are consuming aloe every day, this is a game changer for your wallet because aloe is extremely expensive. Good quality aloe. Don't just go to the Walgreens and buy aloe juice. They juice the outer flesh, which causes GI issues big time. So thanks for joining me. I'm gonna go plop this in the tower. I will keep you guys updated on how it goes. Thanks for joining me on another fun adventure, just kind of stretching our tower gardening abilities and stretching our self-sustainability abilities. I'm always looking around for the things I consume and trying to figure out how I can produce those in my towers to replace what I'm purchasing. This is gonna be a huge one for me. I hope it is for you. I'll keep you guys posted. See you on the next video.